everyone, welcome back to the Diabetic Diet Show. On today's show, I'm going to cook pork chops, but these are going to be so delicious because we're making them with mustard and capers and maple syrup. Now, I've already have the pan getting hot and I'm supposed to put some oil in here, just like with all recipes, so I figure I better get going on this because this pan has been going for a couple of minutes and it is getting hot. So let's go ahead and get my pork chops in here and then we can go through the ingredients. I went and washed my hands and I need to get through the ingredients, but let's go ahead and get some salt and pepper on these first. There isn't much pepper that comes out of this mill, so you want to do it a little bit. And in case you didn't notice, I'm using canola oil for this recipe. And get some tongs ready to turn these over when I need to. So I'm going to also make peas, which I have thawing. They were in the freezer. And I'm going to use shallots. So these are organic shallots. And what's nice about this package in this fishnet is it makes it really easy to wash. So we'll just put those away for now because I already have them cut up. I also have capers. So I've already measured out the capers and we're going to use some butter, flour. You would be better to use almond flour, but I didn't have any, so I'm using just regular flour. And some parsley for sprinkling on the end. I have a chicken broth, maple syrup, and Dijon mustard. So we'll put that out of the way so we can get working here. Let's check these pork chops because we just want to kind of brown these to get them started. Roll them around in the oil. They look like they're starting to tan up. A little hard to grab a hold of, they're heavy. A lot of people use the smaller pork chops. I like to buy the butterfly pork chops. It makes it easier to cook a bigger piece of meat because they're already cut in half. So we'll let those go for just a minute. I've set the timer for 5 minutes, which is what I'm going to do per side. You know, if you watch my other videos, ultimately I have the thermometer and I'm going to check to make sure they're somewhere around 160 when they're all done. So 5 minutes per side. I got a little over 2 minutes left on these. We're down to 10 seconds and I'm going to turn these over and reset the timer. Okay, so I'm going to start it again for 5 minutes, turn these over. Wow. I wish you could smell how good this is. I'm just going to go ahead and check them. So I'm reading 149 there, so I'm getting real close. That one's 153. Of course, you got to make sure you don't hit the pan. A lot of times what I do is I'll put like one pork chop or steak, whatever I'm cooking, on top of the other one so I can stick the thermometer through and I'm sure I don't get the pan reading. So that one there I'm getting 133 on. There's 152 on that side, so we're getting close. The next thing we're going to do after this is we're going to cook up with butter our shallot. So I can go ahead and get this butter ready. Now a lot of people probably wouldn't use a half a stick, but you know, it's just easier because the butter comes in a half stick like this. And a little bit of butter burns more than a lot of bit of butter, so I just think you're better off to use a half a stick. It's not really that much butter in the spectrum of things. I've turned the heat down a little bit on these too because they were smoking a little bit. A lot of times I cook out on the grill. So we got 3 minutes. Here we go, we're down to our last 10 seconds on these. And we can go ahead, I believe, and kill the timer. And let's just check the temperature on these. Because I'm reading 163, 4, 65. So these are done. So let's go ahead and get these out of here. You know, they have to sit for at least 3 minutes before you eat them. Now you want to turn the heat down a little bit. And let's go ahead and we're going to put in our butter. Nice and carefully here. And then I'll get a wooden spoon, because this is a Teflon pan. There's a little bit of canola oil in here too, because I did a little splash of canola oil, which is good if you're afraid it's a little hot with your butter. Just add some canola oil and your butter is less likely to burn. Because I'm going to put the peas in here when we're all done. So I want a little bit of that in here. Almost. Turn it up a little bit so it melts the butter. Better to be a little lower and turn it up though, rather than to be burning stuff. Okay, it's ready to go. So, here's my shallots. And these shallots are only going in here for like a minute or so. Now the chicken broth. And this has chicken in this package, but the chicken broth that I buy, the chicken is fully cooked. So we don't have to worry about the temperature of that. Because of course, dumping this in the pan, it's going to lower the temperature of the pan. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it up a little more, get it going here. Stir this up. You can use beef broth, chicken broth. All has different taste. You can cook it with chicken broth one time and beef broth the next time and get a little bit different taste. Or you can add different things, onions, garlic. Okay, let's let that go for about a minute. It is really starting to bubble, so let's get some more ingredients in here. So this is the Dijon mustard. This is the capers. I love the saltiness of the capers. They're just so good. And then this is the flour. Like I say, almond flour would be better for you than regular flour. Being a diabetic, we actually had this, was for Asian recipes that we were doing, and I'm basically just trying to use it up. I think I need to order some more almond flour and then I can just pitch that. Let's get some maple syrup in here. I didn't pre-measure out the maple syrup because you know how it is, if you put it in a container and then you try to dump out of that container, you're not going to get much maple syrup out of it. It wants to stick. We'll put some more on top of the pork chops. I made a really good meal the other day. I mixed honey and maple syrup together. If you want to check that video. By the way, while I'm thinking of it, click on the subscribe button. Hit the bell if you want to see more videos. And let's talk about the question of the day. So the question of the day is, do you like maple syrup? So if you like maple syrup, hit the like button. Let's see how many people like maple syrup. Have you ever used maple syrup to make bacon? You know, if you take your bacon with a little bit of brown sugar and some maple syrup on it, wow, that'd be really good. All right, let's put these back in just for about a minute or so, just to kind of baste them, and then we can go ahead and serve them up. Because this is actually done. Let's turn this heat off. These aren't the best tongs. Need to do a review on tongs. You can watch for that coming soon. Wow, that is fantastic. Now, a little bit of the sauce on top, just like that. Mix. You could put it in a gravy boat if you want, but it's just easier to dump it into a bowl like that out of a big pan. So here's the peas. Turn the heat on again just a little bit. Let's let those sit for a minute on the heat. Well, my ice is melting. Peas are cooking. See, I just want to kind of warm them up here a little bit. I don't want to do a lot of cooking with them. But now what I'm going to do real fast is I'm going to try to gather them up off to the side where I can reach them all, and then I'm going to hit them with some salt and pepper. Give them a stir, and then I can start to offload these to the serving dish. These are going to be delicious. Well, folks, here you go. Here's the meal. Let's put a little bit of parsley around the dish, make it look all nice and pretty. Here we go. That's the show. I hope you enjoyed it. Make this soon, and I'll see you here next time. Bye for now.